Hello, everybody! Welcome back to the Blade Dragons podcast. I am your host, Elliot, and we are here with a bunch of other guests today because the guests are the better part of the Blade Dragons. The dragons just hide in the background, but the guests are the main shows, main toes. Introduce yourself, guys.
I'll go first. How's it going? I'm Jake, otherwise known as Illinook. Semi-series regular here on the podcast, and glad to be here. A lot of cool stuff to talk about.
What? I'm trying my best. I'm so sorry. Why would you intro like that? Elliot.
I'm good at improv, dude. Come on.
Fuck
You just
me,
gotta go with it.
Oh my god.
I'm Juice. Move on to metal.
I am Metal, the other
That's true.
host of the Blade Dragons, and apparently I'm not part of the main toes, according to Elliot. So, welcome to the Toe Dragons. We're gonna get into this stuff, which is this left spin Beyblade. Yay, we have left spin
Yes.
Beyblades. Okay, so
Finally.
this is Cobalt Dragoon, I think 260C, and it is a UX Bay. It is the first releasing left spin Beyblade for Beyblade X. We knew that Lightning El Drago would be coming in the whenever the Metal Fusion Beyblades come out for the remakes or the X over. But this, of course, is going to be the first officially released BX, UX, whatever, X Beyblade. And it is a Drake variant. And I gotta say, this thing is looking absolutely trash. No, I'm kidding. It's awesome. This thing is super sick. The blue is really nice. I guess Dragoon now. Bit Beast is fantastic looking. I love this angle of it. It looks kind of similar to Tron Buster's avatar. It is a three. Yeah, this is a three-bladed. I mean, kind of six. It's weird. It takes a lot of cues from Drawn Sword, Drawn Dagger, and Cobalt Drake. But I think it looks pretty sick. You can definitely see, you can smell some Dragoon and El Drago elements on this as well, a little bit. We're also getting the first release of 260, which is super cool. This looks very on brand for a Cobalt Beyblade. And of course we're getting C, I forgot what that stands for.
Cyclone.
Cyclone. And this is the new attack bit. As you can see, we've got the little spiral down there, which is similar to Lost Longinus and Medio El Drago. Very, very iconic tip right there. We've seen this so many times, and it's just fantastic. My overall thoughts on this is that it's a really cool looking Beyblade. I'm super duper stoked for this. And yeah, moving on to Elliot for your thoughts.
I'm going to avoid my input right now. I'm going to throw it to Big Juice, saying that I made him laugh so much he didn't even talk in the intro.
That's fair. That's fair.
Alright, well, I want to say, did you call it a UX? Because it's a BX Blade.
Is it BX?
Yeah. Unbelievable.
I thought it was UX. I'm
And
sorry.
also-
LX. Ooh.
I haven't
Also,
been
it's
here
an
in a while.
8-blade. I see an 8-blade. You got the main 4, and then, like, the other 4 are, like, kind of cut in half. You see that? Behind the...
Oh,
where the
it
blue,
is four.
blue marker is.
Oh, never mind. It is
Mm.
four.
I see
Yeah.
8 blades.
Yeah, no,
I see
It's
that
like
too, yeah.
four big blades, and then there's the 4 small ones next to it.
I didn't see that bottom one there. Kind of blended in. That's my bad.
Yeah, it looks really freaking cool. It's probably one of the best designs in a while.
Mhm.
Bias cause Dragon and Dragoon. I'm on and off if I like the Dragoon naming. Like, I'm just not sure of it because the others don't have it in their names. Like the original Classic Gen Bays, which what they're based on for.
Yeah.
What else? I don't know, it just looks really freaking cool.
Okay.
I had other
if I
stuff,
can
but
if
yeah.
I can cut in for now.
Yep.
So this is pretty much I think that every season of Beyblade, right, especially like the beginning ones of a generation, they have the bays that have like a certain X factor to them. So when you think like Vice Tiger is cool, but it doesn't really have it. Hell's Hammer is cool, doesn't really have it, right? This is it. So this is the type of release that sets the hobby forward. Other releases in Beyblade Burst that I could honestly compare this to would be Lost Longinus, Spriggan Requiem, just kind of those that everybody has like a unanimous like hype and support for, and I think they nailed it. The Dragoon naming I think is cool because it's like a reference, right? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I've also seen on, maybe it's just because of the Japanese pronunciation. Takara Tomy actually did a sort of game show style video where they showcased battles with it, and they were saying dragon. So I don't know if Dragoon is kind of, I don't know if maybe they were saying it wrong or if it's just pronounced differently there. I don't know. But they were saying dragon, which is interesting. But this is sick. I mean, I said in my video that the two teeth is kind of funny. It's like a snake style, but it looks like he's kind of missing his front teeth a little bit. So I'm just imagining Dragoon with a lisp. But overall, I mean, this is what we've been waiting for. And now that we have a left spin bay, finally, I think now is when we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see El Drago really soon, and probably Dragoon S pretty soon afterwards. I'm just hoping they don't have a left spin bay like every other release. Like I hope left spin, like Metal Fight, is rare and it's special.
Preach.
For sure. Yeah, I'm looking at this, and when I saw the leak and it was like, oh, Cobalt Dragoon, I was like, okay, Cobalt is a very fitting name, I guess, for it, saying that it's more of a on par with the X brand. And then Dragoon, I was like, okay. So it was kind of really on the nose of a release. It was like, uh-oh, what is this going to be? What are they going to try to do with this whole new Dragoon variant? But looking at it, saying that I did design some of the channel art for this channel originally, I can confirm that Dragoon does have a little spike on his nose like that. So that is a throwback to the original Dragoon Bit Beast, which is pretty cool. They did kind of do more of like, it looks like it is a Cobalt, Cobalt Drake, like sharp metallic type of design for the Bit Beast there. So that is a very cool art style with like a flame around it or something. So it is very sick for the actual character design. And the 8-bladed design I was just looking at, and this looks like a throwback, not exactly, but I don't think you'll guys be able to see it, but Dragoon G is actually an 8-bladed attack type, and it's pretty similar in the exact type of attack, except the blades are backwards, obviously, because of but yeah, so I was thinking it was kind of like a Dragoon G, which makes sense, saying that it's kind of a standard 6-blade. Seems to be like an attack type, which it isn't too aggressive, isn't too recoily. So for being a less spin bay, I think it makes sense to kind of ease into it with a less aggressive design. Because I'm excited to see, like we pointed out in our previous videos on Dragoon S, how they're going to kind of make those protrusions not super apparent, but that this is kind of a fun concept to get into. So overall, I gotta say, I'm glad it's not a metal coat blade. The fact that it's silver, if they did something that was like gonna destroy it like Phoenix Wing off the bat, I prefer to have a standard release, and then if they're gonna do a recolor exclusive, that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I like that a bit better. I will say it does kind of look like the smaller blades do mesh a bit into the bigger blades in some parts. So maybe if you hit like this straight part here, you get more of a smash tag, and then if it hits here, it kind of leans more into hitting this part as well.
Something that's kind of interesting too is just kind of the shaping of it, right? And like Elliot said, kind of easing into it. And like they could have done, you know, if they wanted to go crazy, they probably couldn't have because it's a Cobalt variant. So it kind of has to have that four main blade shape. But if they would have made it something kind of crazy, like a left spin shark edge, that would have been probably a little bit too wild. Something that's also interesting I was thinking about was what could the weight of it be? Whenever you see it from like its side view, it looks like it would be pretty weighty, right? But in that Takara Tomy video, it definitely seems somewhat thin, kind of. Like it doesn't have a major upper attack kind of angle on it. So I don't think it'll be I mean, yeah, it looks super chunky like from that angle right there, but it's pretty flat in total. And it kind of reminds me of like Vice Tiger. I wish I could kind of show this off a little bit better, where it has like what looks to be a lot of chunk on one side, but then you look at it and it's pretty thin the whole other way. So I'm thinking that this won't be some like super, super heavy release. And it was getting kind of tossed around a little bit by Dran Buster. It was just really good at equalizing, you know, because it's left spin. So I'm not expecting it to be some Phoenix Wing replacement where it's like 38 or even 39 grams and it's some new weight power creep. It'll be up there for sure. Maybe around the same as Dran Buster. So I'm interested to see how this is going to be used in the meta and how the meta will be really changed up with this introduction.
I could see this being an early like equalization stamina combo, depending on, you know, testing and everything, how well it does. If it is decent at equalizing, we could see this going on like ball and bits like those for that purpose.
Yeah, this on Hexa as like a stationary attacker, kind of,
I could see that being
would be kind of interesting. It's probably a little bit too recoily for that potentially, but it's otherwise, I mean, it's square in its shape, but it's not like, you know, Dran Buster or has such a harsh edge to it, you know? So I'm hoping that this could counter some of those OP combos like Phoenix on like Point or Wizard Rod on Hexa. If it can be a counter to those, that'd be pretty interesting. I'm interested in how this will define the meta going forward. That's what I have to say.
You're staring pretty hard at it, Juice.
Yeah.
I'm just listening, bro.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna
I
let
prefer
you chime in if you had anything to say.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what 260 can go on. Mainly, probably Tyranno B and Dark Edge would probably be the best for it.
Yeah, this view especially, and like during the battles, like you don't really see it, and it's like Takara Tomy render and those like official pictures. But seeing this side, you can see that the two protrusions on 260 are pretty large. Yeah, like a lot bigger than I was expecting.
Looks bigger than the one protrusion on the one Ratchet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
a lot thicker.
I could see this going
I'm
on,
kind of
on Buster.
Oh yeah, and I'll actually make it that'd make Buster a little bit more balanced too. So I'm honestly thinking that 260. I mean, this is based off of just in first impressions and whatnot. I think that will honestly kind of hold the blade back a little bit because this isn't really a two-sided blade. So I don't think the 260 gives Dragoon any sort of advantage. It doesn't really line up with anything. So I'm wondering what like 5 would be like, you know, or just 3. I just don't see 260 as like helping this combo out that much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was gonna ask because your Nitro Blade has a two-sided ratchet. Didn't know if you did any testing with that. If you had any input on if the burst resistance was gonna be anything questionable or improvement. Because obviously, I remember seeing yours and it was like, okay, they're kind of just like smaller contacts, similar to like the 3 ratchet. But then looking at this, it looks like a severe improvement on or it's not improvement, but just adjustment on size for the two
Yeah.
ratchet contact point. So that's
Yeah.
definitely a big target.
So for my nitro, a few issues with like testing it is it's 250 as well, so it's a little bit lower. It's also just a different material type, and so it's gonna be if it could be like injection molded like these Takara Tomy ones, that'd be crazy. But because it's a different material and it's a different height, testing it is on other parts just it makes it kind of a wash because it's just so different than everything else. But yeah, it's the points on 250 were a lot more like four, like the points on 460, 470, etc., where it's kind of like a very defined point. Meanwhile, yeah, this one is just it can kind of continues that shape, kind of like 160 a little bit. Maybe it doesn't go and extend as far out, but it's definitely really, really chunky. And I'm just interested to see what it could be like. I'm trying to think of what other combos it could go on or how it could line up. Like, I don't know. And we're getting a 280 as well in the
Yeah.
future.
I think another thing to talk about with the 2 ratchet, I'm going to backtrack it up to the image here. It's got this right here. So we've got like the main chunk of the blade, and then it smooths out a bit here, going this way, but then it kind of goes in, and you have more of a hit from this angle here, where this side clearly protrudes more than the other side. I think that's definitely going to play into what it can go on and how it works.
That's interesting because these ratchets are both left and right spin,
Yeah.
But I'm wondering because I'm trying to like figure out how it's gonna work because of the spin directions and whatnot. So, because really from one, if the 260 ratchet spins one way, you're gonna be hitting that smooth side, which
Yep.
would probably be good for burst resistance, right?
Yeah, I think.
But then if it spins the opposite way, it chops more.
Yeah.
And I would assume that'd be worse, but I'm trying to like, for some reason, I can't visualize how the ratchets click into place. So it just might be a completely different performance depending on just what spin direction it is entirely.
For sure. I think the chop side is going in the left direction. So like this side is moving forward.
Yep.
When it's
Yeah,
going
yeah,
left,
it
then
is.
the smooth
Yeah.
side is going right. So this might not be the greatest option for smash attacks on like Shark Edge and Tyranno if they're moving to the right, because they'll hit the smooth side if you're trying to go for that angle. But on left spin, it'll definitely be a huge kicker. And I think that might have been one thing that they had in mind when they designed this ratchet.
Yeah. And this is just kind of what I've been wanting to see more of. Even though it's two, I mean, it's like, it's 260. We've had 3, 4, 5, 1, I'm liking this idea, and I hope we see more of it, that it's kind of, I don't want to say it's asymmetrical, but it kind of is in the fact that on right spins, it's going to perform differently than on left. Versus like 560, it's like a symmetrical almost design where if no matter if you're using on right and left, it's going to be the same thing.
Yep.
But this is actually different, and I hope we see more ratchets that are different depending on spin direction and whatnot. So I like this. It makes it more unique, and it makes it just more, I don't know, interesting to test, I guess.
For sure.
Do you think they'll flip it for a right spin in the future? Or they'll just keep it as is?
I think they'll keep it as is. I think that kind of adds to its kind of allure, whatever. Kind of adds to that a little bit. I'm just interested just to see, because 160 feels like super loose, right? Like 160 feels like it could burst pretty easily. I'm interested to see what this one will be like. That's kind of what I care about most with this release. Besides, being cool and being something that a lot of people are going to get excited for, especially when this comes to the Hasbro side, Dragoon Cobalts are whatever they decide to call it. I do hope they keep the Dragoon thing. I hope it's not just Cobalt Dragon. That'd be lame.
That would
But besides it advancing the hobby, and it's just gonna bring in more hype and support for it, as those Spriggan Requiem's Lost Longinus releases did. The meta getting this sort of change up. I mean, it's never had this sort of change up like this before. So I'm really interested to see from the Japanese side, especially, how much of a wrench, like how big of a wrench this is going to be in the kind of the competitive system.
I think it's definitely going to have an impact, because this is the first Ratchet that we have this issue with. This is also the first bit that functions differently depending on rotation. Because when it's moving to the left, the sharp end of the spikes are moving forward, but when it's on a right spin, the softer sides are moving forward. So you get more friction one way versus the other way. And I mean, this was the same thing that we saw on Longinus and El Drago and everything. So, but considering the changes we've seen with Beyblade X, and of course the Extreme line, and just how hard these Beyblades like to hit each other, I think this is also going to be a much bigger factor than it has been in previous generations.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you mentioned, Juice, the Ratchet being flipped for right spin, that made me think, because I don't know if this video will be out, but when we saw the New York Giant, or was it San Francisco?
San Francisco Giants.
Baseball, yeah. San Francisco 49er Giants, they got a Beyblade for some reason, and they got the 250?
They got 280. The Yomiuri Giants.
Yeah, 280.
Yeah, the Yomiuri Giants. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, Yomiuri Giants. It's like the Yankees of Japan.
Wait,
so you might be honestly offending some people.
Wait,
right
hold
now,
on. So
it's such a big team.
We made a whole video and we called them the San Francisco Giants, but they're actually a Japanese team called the Giants.
Yeah, why would Japanese Beyblade
There's
make a
no
team?
shot you said
That's
San
what we
Francisco
were so
Giants,
curious
right?
about.
Yeah,
Why the
wait,
hell
like-
is the San Francisco
Oh my
baseball
God,
team getting a
It's a
Beyblade?
Japanese team, boys.
Why would they
That
make?
video.
Why would the Japanese company make a
I knew
collab
that-
for an American team? How would that make any sense?
I knew they loved
That was
baseball.
our biggest question.
I knew they loved
Dude,
baseball.
Juice is flabbergasted right now. He's like disappointed at this.
I'm furious.
He's like, what kind of lame
There's no
podcast am I on
shot.
right now?
That is so funny. I knew
Also-
there was a reason why none of that made sense to us.
So
I'm
wait, what
glad
are they?
that video
What are they?
didn't
The
make it out.
wait.
Yomiuri?
Yomiuri Giants. Yomiuri. Uri.
Oh my goodness. Oh my.
Also,
They're
I have
literally
an answer.
one of the oldest teams
Wait.
in
Okay,
Japan.
hold on, wait. So, whoa.
This team
Wait,
is
wait,
90
wait.
years old. And you got it.
Yeah,
That's
they've been
Oh,
around
that-
for a long time.
Oh my god. I mean, I knew that baseball was huge there, but
That's so
I just
funny.
okay. Hold on, wait. If we wait, like they look so stupid. Look at that. They use like
the font is similar.
they use nearly the same font. Yeah, this is the San Francisco Giants. This is the Yomiuri Giants. It is kind of similar. Like
It might be They might be they might have like the same ownership and whatnot. I mean, a lot of American players go to Japan, or rather, some Japanese players go to the U.S. and
Yomiuri.
whatnot.
What happened to research, boys? What are you doing?
Neither Metal
Dude,
and I are baseball fans. That's
Yeah,
neither of us are big sports people, let alone baseball. And
Dude,
we
I can't wait for that.
We saw it Baseball G. I'm gonna have to like cut this out and like post it at the beginning, and then just have everyone
Dude.
meme on us the rest of the clip.
It's
We're
gonna
like,
look so-
why
I can't
the
wait for
hell
that,
is a baseball team?
I can't wait for that Dallas Cowboys Dran Dagger collab, dude. Like
Ew.
that doesn't make any sense. But anyways, yeah,
Also,
that's 280.
wait.
So
Yeah, I have the answer to what I mentioned about the flipped Ratchet. It's not flipped. I'm looking at the 280 right now. It's the exact same. The
What?
right spin.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, they didn't flip it. So,
Oh, yeah,
because that's what I was bringing it up when we did that video. The Ratchet looked the same. It was just a different color. So I was like, okay, well, yeah, we do have confirmation. Left and right spin Ratchets do exist, but aren't specified in a single like variant or dual
Yeah.
variant or whatever yet.
yeah,
with these. Like I would say that
I think you can only get it on the
Yeah.
the Yomiuri Giants like store front too,
Yep.
or
oh,
something
that's
like
crazy.
that.
Yeah, this is one of many.
These giants
So
are cool.
are-
Or these stickers are cool though.
These giants are cool.
These giants are cool. The San Francisco Giants, guys.
I mean-
I'm not gonna let you live that down. That is incredible.
You're gonna have to watch the video.
That's-
Literally, the entire video is us saying the wrong name of the
Of
wrong
course.
name of the wrong name.
It was
Typical Americans thinking everything is for you guys.
Just, I know, man.
It's true.
That's
It's
what we're
true.
saying, bro. America's the
Well,
best.
I think that's
That's not what I was saying at
all. Anyone's got any closing statements on Cobalt here?
I do want to
want me to
mention
weigh a little bit?
Cyclone. I do want to mention Cyclone really quick. The bit. It's interesting is how small that bit really is. Like whenever I first saw like Koro pictures before the actual images came out, I was wondering if it was the gear ratio was normal or if it was like Excel where it
did
had
look
the
a little
expanded
bit
amount.
fat, Yeah.
But it's a normal ratio.
Yeah.
But I guess it's kind of more like Rush kind of in its thinness. So you can really see just how, like in this picture especially, there might be some camera distortion, of course, but it's on a pretty fine tip. It's a
Yeah.
pretty fine point. So putting this bay on flat, for example, is going to have a bit of a different. I don't know. I am really interested to see how this performs more than really any other X Bay I think before this, because I have no idea what to expect. Like with Vice Tiger, you kind of know what to expect a little bit, and I kind of got what I was expecting, but this I really have no clue, and I think it'll be good, but a question is like how good,
Yeah. that is
and
the
will these
question.
parts be usable on right spin combos, and what will that look like?
Yeah. Well, it looks like that pretty much wraps up Cobalt Dragoon. A very interesting release, a very hype release. This is definitely going to shake the meta up quite a bit. We're getting.
I have one more
hand
thing to
signals.
say.
Go
Hold
for
up,
it.
I have one more thing to say.
Go for it.
I don't know if the Phoenix set was like this as well, but the price for this in yen is 2,321 yen. So get rid of the 2. That's whatever. It's 321, which is I assume has to be a reference to Beyblade, of course. I don't think the Phoenix set had that same pricing, so they're very much so, as obviously as humanly possible, trying to make you remember Dragoon. Like, guys, remember Dragoon? You remember it? Hey.
I never got onto that. That's cool.
It also, we didn't mention, this has the best looking string launcher. I love the light blue.
Right, yeah, we
The
did
string
not talk
launcher
about
is
that.
Yeah.
Make it up.
I
That's
don't
right.
love the color because it doesn't.
No.
I mean, it's like almost the opposite of what I have as my color scheme for my stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping we get different colors in the future. But I've also heard it has a white string, which seems obvious. I mean, it probably should have a white
In the
string.
video, it was black. That I heard it was white
Really?
as well, but in the video
Aw.
that they put out, it was black.
Well, that
that
could just be
sucks.
the
I was kinda
prototype
hoping
it'd be
they
white.
have using the string that they.
It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to see.
But the design is pretty unique as well. It's really different from the right spin ones, so it's going to be hard to confuse them
Yeah.
together. I
don't
will
know,
say,
though. I think this
Not a
one,
fan of the sky blue.
depending what they do for the Storm Pegasus one, because Storm Pegasus initially came with the string launcher for that was a very similar shade of blue like this. So I don't know if they're planning on doing any kind of string launcher for Pegasus or not, but that could potentially get a little confusing. Especially because this one just says Beyblade X string launch. Oh, it says L on it. Okay, never mind.
string launcher L.
So, Beyblade fans, this is the time to learn English. This is the time to read. I know we hate reading in the Beyblade
says you.
community, but
says the San Francisco Giants.
Giants.
Do
You
not
shut your
play.
mouth. You have
That's
no
crazy.
I'm speaking for everybody, including myself. We're all gonna learn to read.
Reading Dragons next episode, guys. Well, that'll do it for Cobalt Drake. Definitely hyped.
Dragoon.
And we will
Yeah,
The
Cobalt
jokes
Dragon.
write themselves. Cobalt Dragon. Cobalt
You
Dragon.
know-
Cobalt Dragon.
that's why you come here, boys. You know, we got the best jokes and the most serious Beyblade
yeah.
news. So
Yep.
thank you, Juice, for having a blast with us. You know, the big toes in the house, Juice and Jake with of course Big Thomas Metal. So you know Thank you guys for watching. You know, Blade Dragons are the San Francisco Giants confirmed. Bye bye.